Alright, so we're going to tie a sucker spawn today. What I like to use is a couple strands of glow bug yarn, which looks like this. This is how you're going to find it in the store. I'm going to use an egg color and an apricot color. I'm actually use two different colors. I'm also going to use an assorted color crystal flash to put a tail on it. And I'm going to use a 210 orange thread. So go ahead and start your thread right behind your hook eye and just build a nice body up to right around the it's going to be right around the bend of the hook. So go ahead and get that up there. Alright, so build that up. Once you get that, get this part's really relevant. Just depending on what hook you're using, I'm using a size 14 scud, normal scud hook, like a nymph style or an egg hook. Trim off probably about 5-6 pieces, maybe more, depending on what you grabbed. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. Of crystal flash. This is an assorted color flash. Go ahead and tie that in back to give you a tail off the back end, and then go ahead and just wrap that forward to build a little bit of a body on it. It's not really a huge deal. Just get it forward so you can get it tied in there. Go ahead and clip that off, and go ahead and just wrap that in. Get back to the back there. Get right back to your bend. Alright. And you can go ahead, you can trim this tail to whatever desired length you have once you get done with the fly. Alright, now take 2 pieces of egg yarn, probably about these right here, about two or so inches, give or take, doesn't really matter. I like to go a little longer because it's a little easier to work with. Pull 2 strands of it off. Like I said, I've got an apricot and an egg color, and this is what I like to do, is just go ahead and trim up the ends, get you a nice little end on it, and then go ahead and wrap that in. Get you about 3 wraps and get that tight. And then I like to build a body with it. Some people don't do this, but you can do it if you want. Just go ahead and build a body over top of the yarn out to, leave a little bit behind the eye there. You're going to have some space to tie that in once you get back up to the eye. And whatever you got excess, trim that off. Scissors are a little dull there. Just trim up whatever excess you have up at the top there. And like I said, it's not going to be a big deal, because everything you tie into this sucker spawn is going to be over top of what you see here, so it's not really a big deal. Now go ahead and take it, pull it up, and I like to twist it. I'm going to do probably about 4 or 5 wraps here. Make sure your first wrap you're going to want to go in sequence of size here, so get 3 wraps on your back, get that snugged up, so that'll be your back hump. Your second loop, you want it to be a little bit bigger than your first loop, so go ahead and get, again, and make sure you look at it and see it. Alright, so go ahead and get 3 wraps in on that one. Alright, now you move on to your third loop. Again, just twist the end of it, and your third loop is going to be your biggest loop of the ones you put on there. So if you see what I mean by that, you've got 3 different height loops on there. So right now you've got 3 different loops. You've got a small, little bigger, and then when you go to your 4th loop, drop that one down to somewhere around the size of your second loop that you put in the back. And then you'll get 1 more in the front, and you want your front loop to be small, just like your first loop that you did. Alright, so now you've got something that looks like that. You've got a bunch of different color or a bunch of different size loops. So you start small, bigger, bigger, and then you'll drop back down. All right. And then what I like to do here is, after I've snugged that in, get a couple wraps on the front just to build like a little bit of a base there in the front end of it, just to make sure your yarn is tight in the front. And like I said, you still got room in front of your hook eye, so that's kind of what you're looking for there. So go ahead and from there, get in there and trim that off up towards the front. And as you get forward here, you'll just kind of go ahead and wrap that in and build a little head on the end of it there. Alright, and you'll be able to go back and trim whatever's left over, so it's not a huge deal. Grab your whip finisher, give at least one whip finish in on the end. If you can get two, that's great. A lot of times when you first start out doing things, you won't be able to get two because you haven't left enough room on the end to get two finishes in there, which is fine. So go ahead and trim off the end there. So you got a little bit of a body on the back there. You got a flash tail. Take some head cement, get your head finished off there. And if you've got any extra yarn around the hook eye there, which you may or may not, depending on how much you left over when you tied it in, and that's pretty much what you're looking at there. So there you go. You've got a 5 hump, which is pretty realistic. And you know, like I said, I like to use the egg yarn, glow bug yarn, because that, when it gets in the water, gives it a, you know, kind of an eggy look to it, and gives you a nice nice wet look to the fly. So there you go. Once you got that done, go ahead and pull this off. You're probably going to have more flash on the end of it than you want, so just go ahead and trim up the end, give you whatever size tail you want on it. Doesn't really make a whole lot of difference. And there you go. That's a quick little sucker spawn that will catch quite a few fish. Alright.